Minister, I want to raise the issue of historical sex abuse of children at St John Ambulance. Mick Finnegan, one of the survivors of this abuse, is in the gallery. It's almost a year since the publication of the Shannon report into this. It will be over a year since the organisation received a copy of that report. That made a series of recommendations, one of which was the employment of a full-time safeguarding officer. Now, almost a year later, St John Ambulance has come to the government and said, we don't have the funding to pay for this, and the government has agreed to fund €100,000 a year post. Minister, do you agree that it is not acceptable, in fact it's outrageous, that a year has passed and at the end of that year then they discover all of a sudden we don't have the money to fund this, when they were supposedly in the process of employing the person and now say we don't have the money, we need the government to step in? And secondly, will you agree that the government needs to make a condition for this money? This money needs to be conditional on a clear out of the board of anyone who was a senior officer at the time of the disclosures, anyone who was at the board at the time of the disclosures, and the full implementation of all recommendations.
On one matter. Minister, you can only take one of the questions, please.
Thanks very much, Deputy. What I said to Mick Finnegan on behalf of survivors on Thursday when I met with him, and what I've said to the Joint Oireachtas Committee subsequently, is that I am frustrated by the lack of progress in terms of the protection of a child safety lead in the organisation. And in order to expedite that, in order to ensure that we can have protection for the young people who continue to work in St John's Ambulance, the government is going to step forward, make a contribution for the first year towards the cost of that role, but importantly link that to an agreement with the organisation in terms of a service level agreement to allow us have greater level of oversight, greater level of accountability that we don't currently have with the organisation.